Hello, this is Nick Katrick reporting for the Nature Museum at Grafton, and I'm here today with one of my favorite trees, the yellow birch. Now, if you've been wandering around southern Vermont at all, it's pretty likely that you've seen a tree like this. Yellow birch is what we would call a mid-succession species. Now that means if you're in a field or you have an opening in the canopy, it's not the first tree that comes up, but it's a close second. Now these guys can get quite big compared to other birch species like white birch. Now white birch, you've probably seen as well, has large swaths of white bark like this. Yellow birch, like its name suggests, is a little bit more yellowing. And it has these really tight curls as well. If you're interested in other birch species, you should check out tree trivia from last week. Leaf shape is another way you can identify trees during the growing season, and here's an example of what yellow birch leaves look like. I'm going to show you a picture so you have a little bit more detail. If it's growing season where you live, I encourage you to get outside and look around for yellow birches yourself. If you're looking for the bark, it's a little easier to identify a yellow birch than some of our friends like the red maple and beech tree, but the leaf can be a little bit more challenging. I also find yellow birch really delicious. And I'm not kidding around. If you take a little twig from the tree and stick it in your mouth, it tastes a little bit like wintergreen or root beer. But remember, if you're wanting to try tasting plants at home, be very careful to identify the plant correctly, and if you're young, ask your parents first. Birch trees are also important in history and lore. In the Old English, back when the alphabet was in runes, there was a letter called Birch, which meant either birch tree or poplar tree. Pretty cool, huh? There's even a surviving poem about the runic alphabet from before the 10th century, which I happen to have a copy of here. It reads, "The birch bears no fruit, yet without seed it brings forth suckers, for it is generated from its leaves, splendid are its branches, and gloriously adorned its lofty crown, which reaches to the skies." Now it's time for you to get outdoors and find some birch trees. You've got all the tools you need to identify them. This is Nick Katrick, signing off for the Nature Museum, and stay wild out there.